Shut up and sit down.
It's where the big boys play. Sicw.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Spread Reading Podcast and happy April Fool's or whatever. Well, here comes Bobby.
I knew it wouldn't be much fun.
Yeah, there's an up-nose shot for Bobby. Enough for Bobby, the people want to see it.
Well, anyway, that's Nate down below. It's me, the Big Texan. I know I'm looking a little closer to the camera tonight, just because I'm leaning on my desk, because after the matches this weekend, my back is killing me. And the one who's trying to get his shit together is Bobby D. There we are. And together we're the Squared Ring Podcast. I'm sure you guys know, because we definitely have had a bunch of followers as of late, and it's nice. So thank you for tuning in. Again, we're gonna go over a particular wrestler that's coming to the Fan Fest. Hit some WWE news, a little bit of AEW, and I really liked talking about the toys last time, and so we're gonna throw a little mix of that in there too. But let's start off with Nate's topic, AEW.
Yeah, RVD. We were going to talk about it last week, but we all got a little bit busy. And it's this garbage match here with Moxley taking blunted nails to the back, across the backbone. It's extremely irresponsible. It's something that should not be done, even at the beginning, middle, or end of your career, like Moxley, end of his career. One unlucky slip, if he didn't hit him exactly right, it takes one of those blunted nails to get in between the vertebrae and he's paralyzed. And like I was telling Jim, I really doubt Tony is going to be paying that man's bills for the rest of his life when he gets paralyzed for doing stupid things. The other side of that is
it's not even just an unlucky slip. I mean, there's like 100 possibilities there. Like, it would be very easy for a slip.
Right.
Yeah. And then we wanted to point out the hypocrisy of somebody that decided that he would more likely to align with AEW because it's quote unquote wrestling, or not AEW, with WWE because it's wrestling, although WWE itself says they're not a wrestling organization. They're a sports entertainment organization. So that in itself is dumb. I do agree with RVD's assessment that this is garbage and it should never happen. Here the last couple of days, RVD did put out and tweet that he's never had Bob Wire in any of his matches, which is incorrect. And we're going to say, because we're in this industry, that it's probably concussion related and just chair shots and jumping off ladder shots, because he did in TNA have Bob Wire in one of his matches with Janice, although it was on a table and there was spikes, but it was never used except for on a turnbuckle. RVD's had plenty of garbage matches, plenty of concussions.
Well,
yeah.
I'm just going to point this out. Like I said, I'm leaning against my desk to talk to you guys because my back hurts just from taking a bad bump. Last 2 days I've been pretty much laying in bed and rubbing, the stuff on your back and heating pad and muscle relaxers, and that's just from a bad bump. This is kind of beyond a bad bump. If he would have swung that harder than what he did, and like you guys said, if just one of those nails went into the wrong spot. But RVD is not the only one that's called him out on this. There's been a bunch of wrestlers that have called him out, saying that with where he is right now in his career, that he should have never be doing this. It's just simple like that. I was telling Nate, and Bobby, I'll let you talk in a second. I was telling Nate, most of the time these matches are done in the beginning of your guys' career, just because you want to get seen and you want to get that 15 seconds of fame, from a YouTube video or back nowadays. But for me, it's to me it's still insane, even if you're doing it in the beginning of your career. Because I watched a few of those crash matches that people are bleeding horribly, going through glass tables and light bulbs and everything else. And I know in the beginning of your career, you're not making shit. You're lucky to be making gas money for the ride home. But this guy has got a shit ton of money, and he's still doing it. So there's no.
Yeah, but all that money goes away really quick when you can't walk.
That's true.
I was just gonna say, you said if they would have swung it a little harder, it was stupider than that. He got suplexed onto that.
Oh. Yeah, that's
by another veteran edge.
Yeah, I mean,
I do know that there are laws for things like this when it comes to sports, because I myself have violated a couple of those laws. But
again, this is sports entertainment. It's really not sports.
I get it. It's stupidity. I watched them try to take that out, and
oh yeah, there's a
They
video,
were-
there's a clip of it where they slowed it down and you can see it, pulling the skin away from the back.
yeah, it was hooked in. You guys have done hardcore matches. You know what it's like to pick that shit, not that because you're not stupid, but to pick those things out of your skin, tacks and glass.
Well, yeah, used to tax, and I say used. Back in the day, we did a few tack matches and stuff like that. I don't think I'll do one today, but yeah, that's a little beyond tax there. However, I am going to say later on in this episode, we are going to talk about Sabu, and there's some crazy shit that he has done in his past too that I'll talk about. But
and it's one. I watched that video you sent me, and I don't think we can use it, but we're gonna try anyway because the last ones we haven't been able to get paid for anyway.
well, we don't have to use it. It's very searchable on YouTube. This video that we'll talk about, and even Google. You can Google it, and it'll pop right up. It's the first video that pops up. So
Yeah, we'll get into it later.
yeah.
But on this one, we just wanted to say we understand where RVD is coming from. We agree with that part, but we disagree for him taking the holier than thou and then choosing a non-wrestling company to say that he would more align with that when RVD is an extremely talented and athletic wrestler.
I say the only thing I could say to it is my initial thoughts were like you too. Like when I read it, it's like, oh, he's a hypocrite. But on LFG this week, you had Mickie James making comments about girls being scantily clad and how she hates it and all that for wrestling. And then someone kind of pointed it out in one of the comment in the threads, and I kind of apply it to this too, though, where they did that stuff because they had to at the times. Like that's how RVD had to get noticed. That's what they made the women dress like when Mickie James was at that time with Vince there. Doesn't mean they necessarily liked it, I guess, though. Like, I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of women that's coming out, especially since that whole Me Too thing happened a few years back. But there's a lot of them, and you can search interviews where they talked about how they were forced into those what do they call them, lingerie matches and painting matches and stuff like that. That they didn't feel comfortable doing it, but it was either do it or you weren't used, and then you eventually be out. Yeah.
Speaking of which, Cody Rhodes made a really good joke on Raw yesterday in London about that, where he said Cena's only there because of a man that can't be named. We can't talk about. I just thought it was funnier now.
Hey, I don't know if you guys caught
I liked his line of the fans have never chanted that I can't wrestle.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. Now, everyone knows that we're taping this on Tuesday, and then we do release it on Thursday. So today being April Fool's, when I first opened up Facebook this morning, it was a big old thing saying Vince McMahon just bought TNA, and it had him behind a TNA desk, which is funny, but because like 3 days ago, um, what was his Storm? I think his last name was Storm. He was from TNA. Kind of went up to James Storm. He posted on his Twitter.
Hard name for you to remember.
You're right, right. He posted on his Twitter that he thinks that WWE is going to buy TNA and just use it again like they did for WCW, their back catalog. Plus, they can make TNA like a bigger version of NXT.
Or is it going to really be like WCW where Stephanie's out there and then Vince pops up and says, it says McMahon, but not necessarily Stephanie?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could be because she just debuted her new TV show. It's on ESPN, Stephanie's Places, something like that. And, she talks, her first episode goes over where she's walking back into the new WWE headquarters. And she's having conversations with people as she walks through the halls and stuff. And, she's all explaining that, this is the first time she's seen this place, that she hasn't been here. And even Triple H kind of joked about, well, you're not here. And, because she's technically not on the board anymore. But yet she was hands-on buying that on that building and decorating that building and everything else. But they're playing it off like, oh, well, I've never been here before, or this is the second time I've been here.
It's the same thing when the magician comes in and goes, we've never met before, right? Before anything else happens.
Right.
They've met before?
I know it is a shock. Like, okay, Bobby, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but the Easter Bunny isn't real, and Santa Claus was real, but he doesn't give presents.
Hey! I got cats and dogs in here. They understand that stuff, and they get Christmas presents.
I'd say Krampus does deliver.
Well,
we were talking about Raw real quick with. I think it's funny in London. He comes out with a Union Jack on his shirt. Talking about Cena. Everybody's booing him. Then they cheer him in the middle. Then they boo him. And they cheer him. And then they boo him when Cody does that move on him that puts him in.
First of all, I actually did like the shirt that he had for there. But second of all, did you see as many people that were booing him? How many people were wearing that shirt?
Right.
Almost everybody had the Union Jack. He ain't stupid, Cena isn't stupid. Yeah. Even if they hate him because the Union Jack's on there, they're gonna buy it. And and he had the beaver hat on in that one, didn't he? He was the one with the beaver hat on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since we started talking about Raw, let's just get into Raw then. Yeah. So it opened up with John Cena again, and Cody come out, and I think, even though they're not wrestling, I think this is probably the best segments that they're having on Raw here lately. I think this is the third week in a row where they opened it up like this, and I think John Cena is a hell of a talker, and if you go back, you can see parts where, like when Roman Reigns was just becoming a main eventer but still couldn't talk, John Cena was all over him in different promos against each other. But I think I don't think he's met his match. I think he's a better talker than Cody, but Cody is pretty good at jarking back to him. But I do think they kind of ran a little long, because when I checked, it was like 25 minutes that they were out there, talking, which is,
about 25 minutes, way too long, but still funny.
Yeah, still a good segment. I just think it just went a little too long. And then again, I'm kind of rare. When I turn on wrestling, I want to see wrestling. So I know I'm one of the rare breeds there, but.
So why are you watching Raw? There's no wrestling there.
If you just skip the first half an hour, it's fine.
But then it was New Catch Republic. They reformed because one of them guys were out with a torn bicep, I think. They went against New Day. And New Day is still trying to be this heelish new tag team, not new, but a heel tag team. And to me, it's still just they're still like a comical relief type of tag team. And
I think Xavier plays it fine, but Kofi just seems out of place all the time.
yeah, it just doesn't seem. It's kind of like they're pushing it, like WWE's trying to push him into different situations to make him look more heelish. But I
I
just don't.
think I think you just said in a veiled way that you think New Day's a joke.
I kind of do. As soon as they start turning heel, I can care less about the tag team. Not that I cared more about them when they were faces.
And
Sometimes
I
they,
was going to say we never talked about them before.
yeah. I mean, sometimes they had funny skits or funny promos where they come out of a box of a gigantic box of cereal, the Bootios or whatever they were called. Throwing the pancakes to the audience, and but still they're a comic relief, which is a shame too, because Xavier Woods, if you go back into the TNA files, he was such a great wrestler.
I was just telling my son, Consequences Creed was his name.
Yeah, he came out like Apollo Creed, big old afro, and he wore boxers shorts, that you would box in as his wrestling gear, and he was damn good.
Yeah,
But
and
New
like
Day
a
did
lot of
win.
people don't even know like how smart he is. During that time he was wrestling full time on TNA, he was going and getting his master's degree in psychology.
Yeah, there was always talks about that. New Day did win. Of course, they cheated to win. But I tell you, New Kent Republic was pretty good. Just that style of wrestling. They have the British, type of style where it's a strong style, and not as like Japanese wrestling. Like we always give them the most credit for being the strong style, but they're right there. That British type of wrestling is really good, and you can tell when they put something in there, they put it in there. But yeah, New Day did capture the victory on that. Next, I think was kind of stupid. Um, it was Gunther versus Jimmy Uso. So last week, Gunther beat the crap out of Jay, and then Jimmy came out and saved them. And then this week it was supposed to be Jimmy versus Gunther. Now Jay is the one that's challenging for his belt, Gunther, at WrestleMania. So they did this little promo where Jimmy goes to Jay. He goes, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to beat up on Gunther. I'm going to prove to you that he can be beat. And to me, that's just like, it's like throwing Jay down. His own brother is throwing Jay down. Like, I'm going to show you he can get beat. I know you can't do it, but I'm going to show you that he can. Even though you got the championship match with him at WrestleMania, which little tidbit of knowledge, this is going to be the first WrestleMania where the two winners of the the Royal Rumble is not headlining the WrestleManias. Charlotte won for the girls; she's not headlining WrestleMania. Jay Uso won for the guys, and he's not headlining it because his night that he's wrestling is going to be the same night that Cena is going against Seth Rollins, which is going against Roman Reigns. So he's not even getting the benefit of the main event. But so, Bobby, did you see this match?
Yeah, and I saw the after stuff and kind of like the whole story doesn't make sense. Like if Gunther doesn't lose, they completely bury the Usos.
Yeah, and again, I've not been a fan of Jey Uso, even though he is so over with the fans. But to me, it's all about his entrance that's over with the fans. doing that whole yeet shit. I think that's the only reason why he's over. And it didn't help that they kept giving him different rappers to come down to the ring with, and that's another way to get him over is by having these celebrities come down. But I always like Jimmy over Jay. I don't know. Jimmy just looks more believable, I guess, to me than Jay. Jay's always been the brother in the background, and then they give him this title. He's main event Jey Uso, but he's not even the main event. So I don't know where the title comes through. But either way, Gunther beat down Jimmy. Pretty bad. Where Jay had to come out and try to save him, but in the process, Gunther had zip ties on him and zip tied Jay to the ropes. So all he could do was watch him beat up on Jimmy. And, he smacked him with the title belt, busted him open. And so he's bleeding all over the place. And Gunther is wiping the blood on his chest like he just killed the guy. So it did have a good picture ending if you want to tell a story, because Jimmy was kind of towards the corner where Jay could almost reach him, but Gunther had him in, I don't even know what you call that hold.
Rear naked choke.
Rear naked choke. So, he was passing out, and, Jay just couldn't reach him either, So it was the way they ended it with the camera angle was pretty smart. I will give WWE that. But again, it just shows that Gunther can't be beat by either Uso. So I don't know what they're trying to show here. But this whole little program with Jey Uso and Gunther, I've just not been behind. There wasn't hardly any matches. So that's, the New Day was one, Gunther and Jimmy was one.
Only four
Yeah.
again. That's it. And the best one, just because of the outfits, we're talking about skinny, has to be Bianca in her referee outfit. Come on.
Yeah,
I know you
so
like the Bobby.
that was the main event. I will say before we get to the main event, I'll just say that AJ Styles came out, and it's been a while since he's been out. Because he was out with an injury, just came back a couple of weeks ago, which I like because it's again bringing new blood into the show, I guess you would say. Because again, I always say it's
getting kind of inbred there for a bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's always been wrapped around 5 or 6 guys, but at least AJ came out, and then he called out Logan Paul, kind of like they wanted a match. Like AJ wanted a match that night, but Logan Paul says no, I got bigger match in mind, and points to the WrestleMania sign, and said that London doesn't pay him enough to wrestle, and then so he was going to wrestle at WrestleMania. Which makes more sense because they do make a shit ton of more money when they wrestle at WrestleMania.
But they wrestled anyway.
Yeah, but so then the main event, Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky, and then yes, Bianca Belair was the special ref. Did you watch this one, either one of you guys?
Fell asleep.
Nobody won.
Yeah, I hated this match.
Yeah,
I assumed that's how it was going to be, some way to keep it a triple threat.
Yeah,
it was slow.
I'm sure the way it ended was to make sure that it kept a triple threat for WrestleMania. So I mean, they got there, but the actual match was just horrible. In the very beginning, they just started striking each other, and these strikes and hits were just horrible. There was a part when Io Sky pushed Rhea Ripley into the corner and was forearming her, except for Rhea's head was down, so it was clearly she was forearming the corner. I can't even think of the name. The pad on the corner, turnbuckle pad, and repeatedly, and the camera just stayed on it the whole freaking time. But there was a bad Hurricanrana spot on the outside. Io jumped from the ring onto Rhea and did the whole twist and went for the Hurricanrana, and she fell, and then Rhea realized what was supposed to happen, so she fell, but the disconnection had already happened. So that was horrible. And then they went back to the well, which normally everyone's told not to do, but this time they did it on a bigger scale. I guess they had planned to do the same spot on the top rope, and it failed again, and it went into a Samoan drop instead of a Hurricanrana off the top rope, which was funny because Rhea is the one that did the Samoan drop, and then they played it off like Rhea was the one that got hurt. So the whole
See,
match was.
and this is what happens when you go from wrestling organization that is entertaining to an entertainment organization that talks mostly and doesn't wrestle on it. It's crap like this.
I'm
And
just
I'm
gonna
not
throw
picking on the girls. It happens with the guys too.
I've never been a Rhea Ripley fan. And Io Sky, I've seen pull off those moves very well with Penta.
You didn't like Rhea when she was a blonde either?
I look for more than just looks. There's all kinds of other things you can see in the world for looks.
Yeah, there's no looks on that calendar at all, Bobby.
It's called racks, okay?
But yeah, so that finished up Raw. So we already know a few matches that's going to be on WrestleMania. Now there is one or two more Raws before WrestleMania, so things can change. But I'm sure that it's still a three-way dance for the women's title. AJ Styles is now going against Logan Paul. Gunther versus Jay, and of course we know Roman versus Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. Man, see how quickly my memory can go.
Well, you're still in a lot of pain from your match on Saturday and all that good stuff. So let's jump into the WWE Hall of Fame announcements for Steve Austin versus.
So this is actually pretty cool. I sent you this just because I wanted to give props to this match, because previously I told stories about how I would watch wrestling and then I would fall out of love with it and go about my day, and then some match I would just catch and it would drag me back in. This particular match that they're going into the Hall, which is very cool that they're actually starting this kind of wing in the Hall of Fame. So now they're going to start putting matches in there that was just 5-star or outstanding matches. They're going to put that match in the Hall of Fame. And this match right here is what actually got me back into wrestling. And this was kind of, you want to say, started the whole Attitude Era, because this is what turned Austin into the babyface. But it was Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. You had Bret Hart that was the babyface going into the match, and you had Steve Austin who was the heel. And during the match, you can just see Bret Hart's attitude change, and you kind of felt sorry for Austin because he was the one getting all of it. And they used the ring bell, busted him open. Bret Hart put him in the sharpshooter. It was what is this? What does it say? Because I know it wasn't it had to
It's
be
WrestleMania 13.
No, what I'm trying to say, it wasn't. I think this match was supposed to be I quit match, and Austin's bleeding. He's in the sharpshooter, and he's trying to fight out of it. But as he pulls himself up to do like a push up to kick out, just more blood upon more blood just keeps pouring out of him, and eventually he passes out. Ken Shamrock was the special guest referee that night, and he's trying to get Bret Hart off of him, and he's refusing. So eventually, Ken Shamrock, gets him to break the hold. He pushes Ken Shamrock and goes back to the hold, and it showed how tough Stone Cold was to seriously lose all that blood, because He lost a lot, and every time he went back up to do a push-up, you can just see the pool of blood on the mat, and which is hard to do because if you've been in a wrestling ring, you know that mat is cloth, and it soaks right in really quick. So to get a puddle of blood that's not soaked into the mat, that's I would say impressive, because you don't really want to say, oh, you bleed like a stuffed pig.
Yeah, Bobby, last year.
I say I'm willing to bet they had to get a new canvas after that.
Oh, easily. Well, I'm sure they have so many canvases that it's nothing for them. Hell, I've seen them change canvases like 3 or 4 times during a show. So
I say I've seen at live shows where it's like they got like 3 canvases on it, so they can just peel one off.
Yep. But this is pretty cool that they're going into Hall of Fame. And another side note to that, Bret Hart. This makes Bret Hart the first person and the only person who's going into the Hall of Fame 3 times, because he went in for his single career, being a world heavyweight champion, and then he went in for the Hart Foundation with Jim the Anvil Neidhart, which is great because that was a great tag team in the 80s, the Hart Foundation. And now for this particular match. So big props.
That's the only way I knew Bret Hart was from the Hart Foundation. So.
And both of those guys are supposed to be there at the Hall of Fame to accept that award. So that's kind of cool.
A couple of announcements Jim has. One of them I wasn't aware of until you sent me the picture. So
yes.
So
speaking of the Hall of Fame, St. Louis Hall of Fame, it happens in a couple months. May 17th. Was it May 16th and 17th? Yes. May 16th and 17th. It's coming right around the corner. We picked up a big sponsor. Real American Beer is sponsoring the Fan Fest. Will there be, someone showing up? I'm not 100% sure, but I was told not to hold my breath either way because there's like a 50-50 chance. So we'll see.
The last time he was supposed to show up, good thing nobody held their breath.
Right. But either way, this is a corporate company, Real American Beer, and they love pro wrestling, which
Bobby,
is kind
of.
It's behind a lot of stuff.
But they love pro wrestling, and they are sponsoring us. They will be at the Fan Fest. I'm not too sure if they're going to have taste tests or something like that, but that would be great. But I'm sure they'll have T-shirts and other stuff from the Real American Beer, to hand out or auction off, or not auction off, but giveaways. Did you have one? Is that what you had?
I got the autographed Real American Beer case right here.
Ah, there you go. So when I found this out today, I actually tried to see if I can find some here in town, and nope.
Missouri does not touch Illinois.
Yeah, yep. Got to go across the border to get it.
Call Kevin.
Well, yeah, I could.
Big Kev, because he runs all of Missouri for Total Wine. So Kevin gets some for us.
Really? That would be great. Total Wine, huh? So you switch careers, huh?
Illinois keeps very high alcohol taxes, so a lot of places skip over Illinois.
Yeah,
that's why it took us so long to get Yuengling. It literally came from the East Coast around Illinois to like Missouri and stuff, and then this year just recently came.
Well, yeah, I would love. Kevin runs all of Missouri for Total Wine, so he should be able to do it just fine.
Sweet.
I'll text him tomorrow and say, hey.
Yeah, at least if we can get a box or something where we can throw in the background, it'd be great. But speaking of that, beer, I know it's on a side note. I love my side notes. I would love to. I've not had Stone Cold's beer yet. I would love to try some of that, and the garage beer from the Major Brothers. I would love to try some of that too. And then eventually we'll get around to making our own. 4 or 5 years from now, we'll have the Squared Ring beer.
At least that's downtown Belleville that sells kits.
Oh, there we go.
Well, I
But
mean, we have
you
the
know,
Micro Brew too. St. Louis is a beer town, so we don't have to go
right,
very far to get it made.
yeah. But this is very cool for SICW. It's a big sponsorship, and like I said, I don't really think Hulk Hogan will make it.
That's a
Because I
big price tag.
Yeah.
well, but I did hear that some replacements might be coming, so I'm down with that too. But either way, you know, it takes a lot of money to put these fan fests on, and this is just a great way to help Herb Simmons and the SICW family out.
And the
But
square ring out.
yeah, and if anyone out there wants to help sponsor, they can sponsor matches. They can sponsor with advertisement. Just go to sicw.org. There's a phone number. It's a direct link to Herb Simmons, and you guys can that out because I know he's looking for all kinds of sponsors. And there's some other wrestling organizations that's sponsoring. Redneck Championship Wrestling is sponsoring it. Midwest Wrestling Coalition is sponsoring it. So if you got a wrestling organization that you know SICW either works with or knows about, or if you know Herb Simmons, just give him a buzz and you know, you never know what can happen. You might be able to
But
get
if you
in
don't
the
know
ring.
about Herb Simmons, and you're a newbie in the industry.
Right, right.
But not
Um,
only that, if you want to sponsor the square ring, we are a part of SICW, but separate. Just email us, give us a call. We'll put something together.
yeah, that'd be awesome. All
But
right.
speaking of money, we also have this coming up on next Saturday.
I'll tell you what, before we hop into this, you can keep that up just because that's the newest one. Let's date back to this past weekend on
Oh, yeah.
why my back hurts. So it turned out that I had a match with Glenn Williams, and it was a pretty good match. I thought it was very good back and forth. We went outside the ring. Of course, I had to slam his head into some tables, and you know, even Trent Daniels got involved in my match, and I was able to give him a nice chop as well. But somehow, you know, I thought I was going to win it really because I was going to suplex Glenn from the outside of the ring into the ring, and then it turned into a crossbody situation. And of course, Trent Daniels had my legs, so I couldn't kick out of a pinning situation, which, of course, the ref, who had previously been knocked out, was sliding on his belly on the mat, so he didn't see Trent get involved. But you can see that normally over my right shoulder, I would have a belt, but now it's over Bobby's left shoulder. So I'll let you, Bobby, talk about the rest of that match.
Well, I mean, that was the end of your match.
Right.
But Herb was sick of Trent Daniels always getting interfering in Glenn's matches and whatnot. So he made Glenn defend it for the main event in a mystery opponent match. And I was there with nothing better to do. And anytime I can get my hands on Glenn, I'm real happy. So much like you, threw him on tables, threw him on chairs, chopped him all over the place. Till eventually I got a little payback doing exactly what happened to you. When he went to suplex me into the ring, and you were there and grabbed his ankle, and I felt that he was a little bit off and was able to shift my weight, cross body, and kind of cradle up his head. And now I'm your new Shriners champ.
So yeah, which was great because you know, I've held that championship for a few years now, and like Herb said, I've always defended it with honor. You know, going to the Shriners parades, handing out the Shriners pamphlets, you know, really, you know, showcasing being a true champion. And
I
I
say,
think
someone asked me if I was going to be in the parade with it now that I'm champion. And I said, well, we'll have you drive the Camaro, and I'll just pose on the hood with it.
yeah. Well, I got that white truck. You can just stand in the back, and you know, I still have those banners too. so we can get those banners out, and because it doesn't have my name on the banner, it just has the belt and what it stands for. So we can get those out.
I mean, we
But
can
yeah,
do that, but
so
it's not as sexy. So
well, when I drove the Camaro last, the banners kept falling off, so we had to keep hopping out of the car and picking them up. So we'll have to fix that too.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's totally great. I lost the belt to Glenn Williams, and then thanks to Herb making Glenn put the belt back on the line, we kept the gold in the podcast. So it went from one to the other. So now Bobby D is the champion. So good times. But if you didn't catch it, it was a great show from start to finish. You had Kowalski's match in there against Gary Graham, and yes, I remembered his name. You had Lilith versus Magnolia. You had Joey. I think Joey tagged with someone. No, Joey was a singles match. Don't remember who you had, but from the start to the finish, the matches were great. So this leads us to this Saturday, which totally
did Joey go
one
against
hell of a.
Trent?
No, Trent had Ethan, and they went
They
against
went for the tag titles.
the tag titles. Thank God Trent didn't win that match either, so he didn't get the tag titles. So that was nice. So we have the Top Guns main eventing this Saturday's card, which I went off the air there for a second, which is very cool because, like I said in the past, they know each other. Like you guys said it, Brandon kind of probably knows a little bit more, but I've been working with Joy the last 2 weeks and probably work with him again this week, just to try to prepare him for Saturday.
Are you teaching them different things than you taught Brandon?
Yeah, well, see, the longer you're with me, the more you're going to learn from me. And with Brandon being gone, I'm able to teach Joey stuff that Brandon's not here for. So.
And there's always a heart factor too. That's one thing you can't teach. So who's going to want it more? Who's going to dig deeper? And who's not going to quit on themselves?
Right. Yeah, so this is going to be a great match. But there's another main event for this night. And since Kowalski kept the classic title, Kowalski's number one contender is also in the podcast and is also a champion, and his name is Bobby D.
And you're going to see 2 titles behind me after next week.
Yes. So
yeah, I mean, it's the real main event. I mean, even though we're smaller on the poster, we're the real main event. Kowalski, I've ran into him many times. It don't matter. Freaking, I'm taking that title from him. When he's laying on his back, he's the same size as everybody else. I know he's big dude and whatnot. They had to baptize him at SeaWorld, all that stuff when he was a kid, but I got this.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's true. You take take a leg out of a big guy, he's done. Especially, all his power moves are, squashes and stuff like that. But if you can't jump because your leg sucks, your squashes and everything, you're standing on the belly, it's not going to be worth as much. So yeah, definitely a double main event this Saturday. It's at the fairgrounds, Belclair Fairgrounds to be exact. Back to regular time. Starts at doors open at 6. Bell time is at 7. You can reserve your tickets if you want to. You can again go to sicw.org and call the phone number, and they can reserve them. But we will always make room at the door. So even if it's a sold out, we have the capability of grabbing more chairs, which we've had to do time and time again. So it's pretty good that the fans of Sicw comes and shows out. But so great
And
show.
speaking of showing out, we have another guy that has shown out just time in Japan.
Yes. All props to Attila. Me and him's had many a battles, but he got to experience one of his dreams this past 2 weeks. He's been in Japan, which I think he fits in the most there, because it's nothing but, you know, hard knock nose wrestling. And, like there's one picture of him, I think he was about to DDT someone on bricks. So,
Yep.
you
And
know,
what's funny is this below it says versus, it says cement match, but above that it says idiot match, which
oh, wow.
it's supposed to be April Fool's, but it says idiot match.
Well,
And of course, April 1st
every
on the
match,
very.
every picture that he's shown, either he's busted open or his opponent's busted open. But the places they go here in Japan, man, are beautiful. There are some beautiful buildings that he's working in. But I think tomorrow he's on that long plane ride home. Yeah, look at that. That should be a shirt right there.
Yes, it should.
But yeah, gotta give him props. He was big follower of Abby and Bruiser Brody, and this is right around the lines that they would love, him doing. Um, so yeah, definitely very cool of him.
If he ever talks, I would ask him when I see him on Saturday, why did you agree to a cement match? But he never freaking talks. So
Oh, you
all he
can
would
ask
do is
Stephen E. I'm
all
sure
he
he'd
would
say
do
what
is
they are.
stare at me.
You'd have to ask Stephen E. He sets all of it up, I'm sure.
All
Even
right,
he didn't know.
let's move on to some Sabu. So Sabu is going to be at FanFest 3. Again, it's the 16th and 17th. He is going to be there signing autographs. We talked about last week how he's got a brand new figure that's coming out. So hopefully they come in so you guys can sign them. And most of the time when they got figures coming out, the actual wrestler already has a few with them. So if you didn't pre-order that, you might get lucky and he might bring some with them to have you guys get autographs and buy. But we've been the last couple of weeks doing kind of a deeper dive, not seriously going to every detail about a person, but try to pull out some more information about them than just a common wrestling fan would know. Especially with these guys, these are legends. So if you haven't been a wrestling fan, like if you're a fan of today's product, you might not know who Sabu is, because right now he's pretty much working the independents. He hasn't been in a major promotion probably since before TNA was renamed, because his last stint was in Impact Wrestling. Um, but he's a guy who's been all around the world. Wrestled in WCW, WWE, TNA, Impact, and the one that he is well known for was FMW, which is Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling. But just to do a deeper dive into him, of course, his uncle was the original Sheik, and the original Sheik had his own promotion called Big Time Wrestling. And we lightly talked about how the Sheik was a very dominant wrestler. He is kind of like Attila right now. He would use weapons, forks, knives, and it was always considered a bloodbath in his promotion. And no one would dare to step into this promotion and try to take it away from him, territory-wise, because of how the Sheik ran things. So Sabu tells a story. You can look at it on YouTube. So this is out of his own mouth. When he was 19, they were having like a congratulation party for his family members that were graduating high school, and their neighbor came over, and now Sabu always wanted to be a wrestler, but didn't know when he was going to be a wrestler. But so this party, evidently push comes to shove, and this neighbor whips out a gun and actually shoots one of Sabu's friends. Sabu, tackles him, and in the process gets shot in the face. Um, shot right through the mouth, busted his jawline, and he had just one of those things when you almost die. I had it when I almost had the heart attack. It was like a totally different feeling, like you want to be alive. Um, and he had that, and he always wanted to be a wrestler. So after he healed from the bullet wound in his head, he started training, and he trained with his uncle, and he trained for about 6 months before he started doing little small matches with other promotions. Like his first promotion besides his uncle's Big Time Wrestling was for the USWA, which is Jerry Lawler's group down in Memphis. So he wrestled down there for just a few months, and then he went over to what actually kind of got him known, which is the FMW, the Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling. Of course, that is in Japan. So, talking about the hard school of wrestling, his matches were a lot different, though. What got him noticed is his matches in Japan were no rope, barbed wire matches. So instead of regular rope, they used barbed wire. And this was back in the days of trade taping or tape trading. Sounds better. So internet wasn't around, cable wasn't around. So the only way to get these cool matches was to have people trade tapes with you. And like everyone was watching these Sabu matches because he's crazy. He's another one that just like the John Moxleys, where they don't have no regard to their own body, and he'll tell you too. He has no regard for his own body. He'll take it to the limit.
Well,
And these
he did in
matches,
that match that you sent me. His skin was burning off.
yeah. So I haven't got to that one yet, but so he was getting well known in Japan and well known across the seas because of these matches that he was having. Now, eventually, these matches turn into, Terry Funk coming over there, Mick Foley going over there, and that's what got Mick Foley known as well, is these matches, because they turned into what they call a death match, where they started bringing in what they call bombs, where they had it set up where you step somewhere in the ring, you might not know it, but it was a little bomb there, and it would explode. And then they did stupid stuff like this match that Nate was bringing up. Now, this match didn't last long because it was crazy, but Sabu actually teamed with his uncle, the Sheik, and went against two Japanese stars. Now, picture this: the ropes are barbed wire. How do you top that? Well, you wrap the barbed wire in bed sheets, and then you load them down with gasoline, and then you light such bed sheets on fire. So now all four sides of the ring are lit up in flames. Now they had planned.
The canvas is drenched with water, so it's a sauna.
Yeah. So it's crazy. Now they had planned to go 30 minutes. They went like 5, maybe 7 minutes because it got so extremely hot. And how they lit these sheets was they drenched a torch, multiple torches to light them all at the same time. And of course, the gasoline from the torches actually lit the mats around the ring on fire as well. So they did what they could in the ring, and then it got just so hot that they escaped, and then they had to escape the mats that were also on fire. But this match is well known. You can Google it, you can YouTube it. It's a crazy match, but it actually got Paul Heyman looking into Sabu, and Paul Heyman not required, that's a bad word, sought after Sabu to come into ECW. Now, we talked about Shane Douglas and how he won the ECW championship belt how he won the NWA championship belt and threw it down and picked up the ECW belt, which was Extreme Championship Wrestling at the time. I mean, Eastern Championship Wrestling at the time, and declared it Extreme Championship Wrestling. Well, his first title defense was against Sabu, and Sabu took that belt from Shane Douglas. And Sabu claims there was no Extreme in ECW until he was the champion. So ECW is where Sabu got nationwide, what's the term? Nationwide success.
Recognition.
Recognition. And that he never really signed a contract with anyone. He always felt like he was an independent worker and could work anywhere he wanted. So he would work dates for ECW. He would work a couple of spot shows for WCW, go back to Japan, do some independents, come back to ECW. And then, of course, we know how this ends. WWE buys ECW. ECW goes bankrupt. They do their version of ECW for a little bit. He comes back for that. It goes away. They do One Night Stand, brings him back for a pay-per-view, does the pay-per-view, goes away. TNA opens up, total nonstop action. They love ECW guys, so they bring them in. So Sabu comes in for those, then leaves and does GCW, comes back to Impact Wrestling, is live back and forth. But he is one of only a few that's won every belt in ECW. He won a newer version of the NWA Championship belt, and he's been all around the world. Let me see if I have any big talks about it here.
Do you think Herb will bring in the barbed wire Inferno match to SICW?
With
I
Arlo
don't think
Ceiling,
so.
yes, though.
One of his well-known matches was with Terry Funk. And I want to say, I thought I wrote it down. I thought it was November to December.
I know the match that you're going to say. We had to tape up his arm during it.
Yeah, so literally it was ECW brought that style where they did the no ropes matches, really only for a few matches, because after this match they quit doing it altogether, because Sabu went to do a move on Terry Funk. Terry Funk moved, and Sabu went into the corner and literally tore his bicep. Not tore. The barbed wire went into his bicep and then tore it. And speaking of bleeding like a stuffed pig, he cut through the tendons, he cut through the muscle, and of course some of the veins, and bled so bad. But realized what happened. He asked Fozzy, who is also going to be at our Fan Fest, to give him some tape. And he went, and during the match, he taped his arm up to quit the bleeding. And then he talks about it too in an interview where he went to stand up afterwards and fell right back down because he had lost so much blood that he was incoherent. But Terry Funk walked him through until he got his head back on straight, and they finished the match. But they got so tangled in the barbed wire that after the match, which I want to say Sabu won. I want to say Sabu took the belt off of Terry Funk that night. They literally had to cut barbed wire out from everywhere. They were both tangled up in the barbed wire. Because at some point the ropes came off and then they just rolled around in it. They're cutting barbed wire.
What
They had
barbed
hair
wire is
attached.
designed to do.
You guys are both talking at the same time.
Very crazy match.
Trivia fact: do you know where barbed wire was invented?
I do not.
DeKalb, Illinois.
Really? good trivia. But he is going to be at our Fan Fest. Hey, well, let me take this back a little bit. You know how we talked about how some wrestlers are known for creating movements in the profession, like Shane Douglas created the movement for ECW. You know, I wouldn't say that Sabu created the movement for hardcore wrestling, but I would say he's probably a founding father. You know, maybe his uncle would be probably more of a founding father, and he was just trained by his uncle, so it came through. But he definitely brought the craziness of Japan style wrestling back to the States, especially with those type of matches. Now, those type of matches are not for everyone. I would never do one. Even if like I idolize Terry Funk and Terry Funk did some, I would never do it, even though Terry Funk did them. Because it's just like that wooden bat or whatever it was that Moxley took to the back. You know, I get banged up, not a lot, but when I do get banged up, it's just regular wrestling, and I don't want to increase the chances by doing something stupid. And knowing my ass, I would do something stupid and increase the chances by a lot. So I wouldn't say that he, started a movement, but he just happened to be at the right time at the right place to bring it over. And it did blow up ECW, where ECW was rated like the third promotion, WWF, WCW, and then ECW. I do say that he was probably a founding father of that, but and he won plenty of championships throughout a lot of the organizations. But I did want to announce one thing about him. He will be at our Fan Fest in May, but April will be his last match. April 18th will be his last match. He's going to be down at WrestleMania weekend in Las Vegas. There's a Joey Janela's. They do a spring break. This is actually Spring Break 9 is what they're calling it. It's just a wrestling event. It's kind of attached to GCW. But on April 18th, Sabu is going to go against this Joey Janela's, and that will be his last match. It will be his retirement match. But then you
Hopefully he goes out to win. If not in May, I'm going to tease him.
All right. The last part is just those pictures that I sent you. Of course, I got some things I'm going to go over myself, but
Thought I seen a box back there for Bobby too.
oh, did you get a box this month?
Yeah. I don't know. I get the overstock box, which is just kind of some stuff thrown together. And there's only one new item in it, and that's the shirt. And in all honesty, because I don't watch AEW, I had to ask my son who it was, and I don't even remember anymore.
Bring the bomb, huh? Oh,
Bring the boom. However, on a better note, you got your Hogan boot, so I had to get on Pristine Auction, and I had to get something too. So got my D'Lo Brown autograph came in.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
D'Lo was just interviewed the other day, and he's the one that paralyzed. Well, he didn't paralyze him, but Draws was. Those were the last. Draws was going against D'Lo Brown, and he did. I can't remember, it was a backbreaker or some sort of move.
Powerbomb, I thought.
Powerbomb, and it's something that they done in multiple matches, but it broke Draws' back, and he had an interview the other day, and he said that they asked him, "What do you think about going into the Hall of Fame?" As what was his Nation of Domination, or just going in by himself, or something. And he goes, "I will not go in until they put Draws in with me." And I thought that was very cool. That and they said that they remained friends up until the day Draws died, because he was wheelchair bound for a while, and WWE even did a special on him where he had this. He wasn't put in. I mean, he had a wheelchair, but he loved this motorized version. It looked like a miniature tank that he drove around in. So he's and they were still paying him, and I got to give WWE credit for that. They were still paying him.
Well, if you go back 2 years when we first started, we did a podcast about that.
Yeah. But yeah, so just a side note, I love my side notes. But yeah, so here's the big thing for today. We previously talked about them, but you can now order them starting today. You got Kerry Von Erich, Bruiser Brody, Haku, and I can't read that. Hawaii. Okay. So that is from the major brothers, the ones I always talk about all the time, Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. The website is collectmajor.com. Very cool ones. Then we had a new one coming out. This is Perry Saturn. He's coming from WSW. It's another independent toy company that just signed Perry Saturn, which if you guys know anything about Perry Saturn, he needs it. And I say that because he once saved a girl from getting raped in an alley, and he saved her, but at the same time, the guy shot him and fucked him up pretty good. And he was out of wrestling. He was homeless because he lost everything. Finally, he's coming around to some conventions. I seen him last year at a convention. Um, not in the best shape, and I don't mean disrespectfully, but it was great to hear that he signed on to a toy company, and hopefully we get some more figures besides this one. Hopefully they do a couple of variants and he can make some money off of this. So these ain't pictures of the actual toys. These are pictures of what the toys are going to be. So this is Ringside Collectibles. So they're going to come out with these next couple of pictures too. So these are the ones that they're doing for the Elite. Ringside has a couple different categories, like basic, Elite, and I think there's one more. But this is going to be the next series of the Elite wrestlers. Yeah, main event showdown figures. So these guys are all going to get figures as well. Cody, Seth. Yep. And there should be, I think, one or two more of Ringside. Yeah, so this is the main event, which is basically the new line of the Legends, I guess you would say. So Lunder Blaze is getting one. She hasn't had a figure. Man, in fact, I don't even know if she's had a figure. If she had, it was a long time ago, probably in WCW. So that's kind of cool that she's going to get one. She is going to be at the Hall of Fame in Iowa, so you can purchase a figure and take it out there. Is there one more for Ringside? Yes. So Ultimates. So the Ultimates has got the multi heads, the multi hands. Normally comes with a title belt, and they're probably going to come with these necklaces. But Razor Ramon is going to get one, and so is Roman Reigns. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully they make a better Razor Ramon, because he just came out in a 3-pack for WCW, and in the 3-pack goes for the NWO, and that figure does not look good. So hopefully they do better.
Do a better job.
Yeah.
Open it up.
Heels and Faces is pretty good. I like this company, and they are getting Mabel. Hopefully they get Mo. Men on a Mission is with the tag team, but this one looks pretty good. I have to admit, I might get this. I really hope they pull out one of his other gimmicks. The one, Bobby, you can help me out, where you're dressed in black and he. Viscera. Well, there was one other one he did too.
I'll say you probably really like Big Daddy V.
Yeah, that's it, Big Daddy V. I don't even know if I can say his finisher on the TV, but he would get the wrestler down on his belly, and kind of go to town on him and get him to submit.
Before you guys go, and I think I'm gonna put this at the beginning, I forgot to tell you that because we're gonna be doing our wrestling with series, and we're gonna start with wrestling with food and all that, a frozen pizza company sent us something.
Oh yeah.
Haven't opened it yet, so don't know what it is.
I said, I hope it's not a frozen pizza behind your back the whole time.
Yeah, I don't think that'll fit.
It's a thin crust.
Very thin, New York style, one one piece.
It's one of those dog town ones.
I forgot to tell you
Imitates
guys about that.
Well, that's awesome.
So our first one, of course, has to be theirs.
Well,
But let's
that's
finish with the
me.
toys, then we'll get into this. I have no idea what it is. It's still taped up, so.
Okay, perfect. Do I have any other ones that I sent you?
You sent me over 20, so yeah,
Yeah.
we have a bunch.
Yeah. I wish I could see a little bit better on the name of this one, but this is the new Rockers. This is Marty Jannetty and Al Snow. Back when he filled in, well, not filled in, he took the place of Shawn Michaels. Bobby, can you read that, or
It's grapplers and gimmicks.
grapplers and gimmicks?
I gotta say, I can just see G's.
Yeah, so another small independent toy manufacturer, and they're all doing these Hasbro size, which is kind of cool because Hasbro never came out with most of these, and so they're trying to fill in the gaps of the wrestlers that we didn't have back then.
I don't know. I miss the finger wrestlers or the thumb wrestler ones. We should do that for Sicw, the thumb wrestlers again.
Now, Ringside Collectibles, I seen a post that independent wrestlers can get their own wrestler made. And it was like you had to order 500 and they were $8 a piece. So that was like $4,000.
Yeah, but that's a damn good deal, though.
It's a damn good deal, but most independent wrestlers don't have $4,000 that they can just slap down.
Do they have 4,000 fans to sell it to?
Not all at the same time.
Still gotta have the money up front.
Right.
I like this one, and I like Gangrel, so I might grab this one. This is from Gimmicks, Grapplers and Gimmicks again.
Yeah, so he will be at a Fan Fest, and you can order this one and hopefully get this in by Fan Fest time because this one looks pretty cool. He's got, and they had a better picture, I think, because there's one that he has like a cloth good white shirt that he used to wear. And of course, he's got his cup of blood right there. So I don't know if the shirt will come bloody or if there will be two shirts, one bloody, one non-bloody, but it'd be kind of cool. Gangrel is such a good figure. Now, these are prototypes real quick. We talked about last week of one of the companies coming out with the Godwins and Hillbilly Jim. So these are just prototypes of what they're looking like. This is what the Hillbilly Jim is going to look like. Now, Hillbilly Jim hasn't had an action figure in years. He's actually been out of the wrestling game for quite some time too. But it's kind of cool that he's going to get one. And what they're doing with the Godwins is they redid the Godwins to come out with Hillbilly Jim. Now this.
Hold on, is that?
Oh, yeah.
That's.
There should be two pictures of this one. This is the one-man gang, and that was what his prototype is going to look like. So this is Wrestling Tycoon. It's another small, very small independent company that's doing wrestlers. It's a totally different style, though. It almost looks like what's those games that the kids play that you build your own building. It kind of looks like that. The style is, but they seem pretty cool. And I don't know. Right now, I'm on a demolition kick, and I seen those pop up, and I was like, I just might.
Well, I don't know where the other ones went because you had one of King Kong Bundy too, and
Bunny was last week, but it's so cool. Yeah, this is the set that I'm really looking forward to. Was the whole
with Brody.
yeah, King Kong Brody. All right, so before you get to your pizza box, I just want to go over just a few pickups that I had sent to me. One, I did a Facebook contest where it's not really a contest, it was a bidding thing. That if you were the highest bidder, and I bid, it's done up like
You're fading in and out, and I want to tell people the reason why is we have a high potential for tornadoes in the area starting tonight through tomorrow, so that's why he's fading in and out.
Well, this was a Facebook win. It was an auction on Facebook. I was the highest bidder, and I still didn't pay a lot. So look into those on Facebook. But this is a Macho Man that's combined with He-Man. It's like their little twist. And if you guys ever played with He-Man, He-Man used to have the type that had the crushing battle armor, and you would hit his chest and it would flip. This is the same way. It's kind of set up like this, but it's Macho Man, which I thought was really cool.
I think that's awesome.
Huh?
But I think that's awesome. I had all the He-Man action figures.
But
Last
did
week
you
I
like the
showed
live
you.
action movie?
Well, they got another one coming out. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I liked it when I was a kid. I don't like it now.
I showed you last week a Dusty Rhodes that I picked up. This was another Dusty Rhodes. This is the ultimate one. This is the pink. I mean, the yellow polka dots. This it's kind of funny. This is the Dusty that I remember as a kid until I started watching WCW and stuff like that. But this Dusty had a manager with him. Can't remember her name, but
From St. Louis.
she was from St. Louis, and she was the very first autograph that I ever got from a wrestler. And I always liked it.
Dr. Cherry, and you don't even remember her name?
Yeah.
You're not a good prom date.
No, I'm not. But she was a regular at Wrestling at the Chase, Sapphire. Yeah, so she used to go up to Wrestling at the Chase, and Larry Matisek is the one that actually got her job in the WWF, working for Dusty. So it all links back to Wrestling at the Chase. It's kind of cool.
Why we do what we do.
I'm going to show you this first, and I got two very cool ones. This is just a flag of the Lucha Brothers. It's got Penta, it's got Ray Phoenix on it. I thought it was very cool. It was $5, so it wasn't horrible on the price. But I figured I was going to use this as a backdrop compared to my blinds. These next ones are freaking amazing. You guys ever heard of Major League Wrestling? So technically, they're right up there with GCW. A lot of people from GCW and Major League Wrestling get pulled to go to NXT or AEW, and that's where they found. I guess they didn't really find him because he was part of the bloodline, and he's a relative of the bloodline, and made a big impact the last year and a half. But Jacob actually had a figure in Major League Wrestling. So this was his actual first figure that he ever had, and I was able to pick it up. It is very rare. You can search for them, but it's going for crazy amount of money. I didn't pay crazy amount of money, but it took me a long time to find it.
That's awesome.
The last one. So licensing for the WWF. If you bought stuff from the WWF in the United States, it was made by Hasbro or LJN. But in certain companies, sorry, in certain countries, you couldn't be an outsider and deliver your product and have them sell it for you. They would contract to a toy company in that country, and that's how they made their money there. The country forced them, if you want to sell product in here, you're going to have us make the product. This was made in Spain. It is this is declared a holy grail of wrestling figures because they're so rare, and you have to get them if you can find them. They have to come from Spain. But this was made in 1991, and this is a Hulk Hogan. This is.
That'll haunt my dreams.
That's going to give me some nightmares right there.
Yeah, that's what Amy said too. She goes, "Get that away. That's going to give me nightmares."
That's the one that's going to move in your curio cabinet on its own.
From a toy line cards called Star Toys. They have no idea how many they made. They had 2 series. Series 1 was Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Jake the Snake. Who else? Jim Duggan, and then even a Kerry Von Erich. Now the Kerry Von Erich, they made him as a Texas Tornado, of course, because that was what WWF had licensed at the time. But that is the rare boy. That one you can go to eBay right now and find him for like $800. That's how rare he is. But I will be a Hulk Hogan collector and just came off of buying his boot. I went for a holy grail and found it and picked it up, and nowhere near the $800 price. Thank God. But the same collector, I'm also going to get his Jim Duggan and I believe the Snake one in about a week or so.
You got to repeat that. You're going to get what?
So his picture's frozen on my end too.
Yeah, I think he's frozen. Maybe a tornado's hitting his house now, yeah? He lives, what, 15 minutes from me? How long was he live from you?
Not that far.
You hear any freight trains over there?
Well, his microphone's on mute now.
Yep, he's gone now. You have to check the weather service, see if we have a touchdown, yeah? You did see the storm warning for us?
Nah. Don't worry about all that stuff.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. I think it's funny. What makes me an idiot? But last year, I was out and about when that one went through.
I can hear you. I just can't see you.
I can hear you, even though your microphone still says off.
Well,
So your house is still there. You didn't go all Wicked Witch and Dorothy on us, so that's good.
not yet. But what I was saying is the same collector is selling me his Jim Duggan and his Jake the Snake. So I'll have those in about a week or so, and I'll show those off. But very cool items, and definitely if you collect Hulk Hogan, a holy grail there. So I'm glad to have him in my collection. But that's it for me. So let's find out about this mystery pizza thing.
Yeah, this is the first thing we have had sent to us, and we didn't have to pay for it.
I mean, I was shooting for alcohol, but I guess pizza will work too.
No alcohol. I mean, they wouldn't end up being left on the front porch, yeah? And a pizza nut. With a pizza timer from Bruiser.
Oh, wow.
So our first wrestling with pizza is going to be with the prosciutto ones, and you get to rate and which ones are good, which ones aren't. They won't be
Awesome.
sponsored, but since they sent this to us anyway, no harm in
Yeah,
it.
that's kind of cool. First one is into something, so that'll be awesome.
Mhm.
Is our PO? Do you have a PO box that people can send stuff to?
No, they sent this straight to the house
Oh, how'd they get the address?
because they reached out and asked me for it
Oh,
through
there you
our Red Ring podcast, and I don't expect anybody from that company to show up on my doorstep. So
go. Well, if any guys out there want to share anything with us, reach out to Nate. It'd be awesome. Also, tomorrow he'll have a whole bunch of coupons for cereal and milk and.
if they do send something, send it in threes.
um. Anyway,
But
man.
this is really cool. Thanks for them for sending it. And no, they didn't sponsor us. They just sent it as a gift for us to open. And
There you go. Well, you're Italian, so I expect you to make some damn good pizzas. And you got a timer now that I expect them not to be burnt.
well, I'm not Italian, and they would
Oh,
actually shoot me for saying it.
oh, I thought you were
I'm Austrian,
Austrian. Oh, okay.
so they
I
hate
mean,
me.
he's hungry.
Same thing, right?
Same thing.
All
Arnold's
right.
biceps are a little bit bigger than mine.
Uh, well, very
A
good,
little bit,
cool week.
not by much. A little bit.
Very cool week on the wrestling front. With having a show last Saturday, and then this weekend we got a show Saturday, and we got the TV tapings on Sunday. So definitely, and we haven't brought this up much, but if you go to the show on Saturday, the TV tapings are free on Sunday. They start at 12. They normally get over about 4. They do sell food and drinks there, and then you'll be on TV. And the TV program for SICW has about they got 1,800 views, no 1,800 subscribers. So you'll be seen all around because I know some people from New York and Canada and Florida, everywhere around the world watches SICW. So it'll be kind of cool for you to be on TV. Other than that, yeah, come on down Saturday to the Belle Claire Fairgrounds. Bobby's got one hell of a title match on the line. Hopefully he can bring him some more gold to the podcast. And come say hi to Nate and me. We'll love to chill and talk to you for a while and, shoot the shit. Anything else, guys?
I
No,
think we covered it tonight.
Perfect.
yeah, everything I wanted to talk about, we said. So
Sweet. Okay. Well, then,
Now I
thank
want
you
some pizza.
for. Now you want some pizza? Thank you for subscribing and watching our channel and giving us the shares and the likes and the thumbs up and keep it going for us. We would love to keep this rolling. I think we're finally getting to spots. Hell, we got some free stuff and possibly some sponsors hopefully down the line. And man, just thank you all. But from the Squared Ring podcast, you guys have a good week, and we'll see you this weekend at the shows. Have a good night.
see you on Saturday.
Adios.
Howdy.